Sometimes life throws you something unexpected. A pesky nail pops a tire on your morning commute, or you pull up to the McDonald's drive-thru to order a Shamrock Shake and, of course, the ice cream machine is broken. Well, you've probably heard that one before, but when the month of March rolls around, the attention turns to a bracket with 135 lines. When someone is reading a book, you can tell if they're at the beginning or the end based on how many pages are left. But you can't tell where the climax is until the entire story has been read. The legendary duo of Georgia Amoore and Liz Kitley on the court is entering the final chapter. But every time Virginia Tech seems to reach a peak, they have something in store on the next page. Back-to-back losses to Florida State and Duke in January were not the midpoint of the season the Hokies were looking for. They reached the inmost cave of falling to number 19 in the top 25. But after these obstacles, they rattled off 10 wins in a row. Just when Kitley's 34 points in a revenge game against Duke and 4 wins over ranked opponents on the road seemed to be the reward, the Hokies put up an unforgettable performance in Cassell Coliseum against the North Carolina Tar Heels. College game day was in town, and on senior day, the Queens of Cassell took the crown. The Hokies defeated the Tar Heels 74-62 in an effort led by their two main characters. Yet another 34-point game from Kitley and an all-time assist record-breaking day from Amoore gave the crowd a show. The Hokies received a gift of being ranked number 5 in the top 25 when suddenly a plot twist forced the win streak to come to a halt. Notre Dame defeated Virginia Tech in convincing fashion on Thursday night as freshman phenom Hannah Hidalgo notched a double-double for the Fighting Irish. It was an off-shooting night for the Hokies as they stumbled after a 19-2 run favoring Notre Dame in the second quarter. This ordeal certainly set the scene for what may be the darkest point. But the story isn't over. With just a road game in Charlottesville and tournament play left, this legendary season may be towards its end, but the action is far from descending, and the Hokies hope this resolution has hardware in store. How about that? The Wolfpack has won 3 games in a row and stands at an impressive 7-3 overall record. Anything can happen in college football, but looking ahead to who will face off in the ACC Championship, let's focus on the 3 leaders mentioned before. Last year, UNC qualified for the ACC Championship with 2 losses. But this year is a different story, and 2 conference losses may be enough to end a team's conference championship hopes. As stated, FSU and UNC have dominated the front half of the season and could be on their way to undefeated seasons, but Duke will look to be the Blue Devils' advocate and play spoiler. Duke has both Florida State and North Carolina left on their schedule, providing the biggest remaining test for both the Seminoles and the Tar Heels. The health of Duke's ascending quarterback, Riley Leonard, will be pivotal for the Blue Devils, and it is unsure whether he will be good to go for this Saturday's matchup against Florida State. November autumn leaves are falling from the trees, and that means basketball is back in Blacksburg. It was just 2 seasons ago when the Virginia Tech men's basketball team upset Duke in the ACC tournament and took home the ACC title. But last year's campaign ended with a first-round loss in the NIT. After starting the season 11-1, the Hokies went through a 7-game losing streak, leading to a 19-15 overall finish. In head coach Mike Young's 5th season in Blacksburg, the team will look to turn a new leaf and return to the March Madness stage this season. NC State named MJ Morris the starting quarterback. Morris won 3 of his 4 starts, throwing for 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions when suddenly the Wolfpack was forced to hit reverse. Abruptly, Morris chose to redshirt the rest of this season, and this meant Armstrong would return as the starting quarterback. Last week, in his first start since being benched, the lefty scored a touchdown both through the air and on the ground in a 26-6 win over Wake Forest. Even though the moon will not be set at kickoff, the Wolfpack will look to track down its prey, steal a bowl-clinching win from the Hokies, and mark its territory in Lane Stadium on Saturday. The Hoos defend their home court as Virginia takes down Virginia Tech 80-75 in this edition of the Commonwealth Clash. The stage was set as nearly 12,000 fans flooded into John Paul Jones Arena to break a college women's basketball attendance record in the state of Virginia.
No doubt about it, 2 of the last 4 times they've matched up against each other, it's gone into overtime, including earlier this season.
It was a back and forth affair all night as the Hokies and the Hoos traded baskets left and right. At the end of the first quarter, Virginia had the lead by 1, but a 7-0 run for the Hokies put Tech back on top. By halftime, Virginia was back in front by 5.
After a slow third quarter from Wake Forest, when Virginia seemed to have the advantage, Wake took over in the fourth quarter and really flipped the script. What went right for Wake Forest to turn the tide and beat the Cavaliers?
It was all tied up at 41 in the third quarter when every Hokies' worst nightmare occurred. 2-time ACC Player of the Year Liz Kitley already had 20 points in the contest when she awkwardly landed on her knee and eventually went straight to the locker room after standing back up. Fortunately, she returned to the bench to thunderous applause from the crowd, but she did not return in the contest.
And now for Florida State, they're the first team to set foot on this court for the 3rd time as they pull off an upset against Syracuse yesterday. Taylor, they seem to be on fire. What do you see going well for the Seminoles so far in this tournament?
In Kitley's absence, Georgia Amore put the team on her back and ended the night with a career-high 39 points.
Georgia was terrific, and obviously when Liz went out, she had a different mindset, and she had a different look in her eye, and she was carrying us.
The game was within 1 basket for nearly all of the fourth quarter until just about 1 minute left. Virginia Tech had one last chance after 4 missed free throws in a row by Virginia, but were unable to capitalize as the Cavaliers were victorious.
Virginia Tech defeats Radford 85-40.
On Autism Awareness Night in Castle Coliseum, the Hokies showed out on the court and Hokie Nation showed up in the stands.
Tonight was very, very special. I thought the crowd was tremendous. I think over 5,000 people on a rainy day.
Although it was raining outside, it appeared as though the skies were blue in Castle for the Hokies as they scored the first 11 points in the ballgame. The Hokies reached the 75 points needed for everyone to get a free Bojangles biscuit, but perhaps the most astonishing feat was the Hokies' defense. Virginia Tech held Radford to just 4 points in the first and third quarters.
Both teams have their next game on the road as Radford will take on Liberty and Virginia Tech will take on Rutgers. For 3304 Sports, I'm Riley Klaus signing off from Castle Coliseum. Notre Dame may have the luck of the Irish, but it's been anything but luck to get them to the ACC championship game. For much of this season, it's been the Hannah Hidalgo show for Notre Dame as the star freshman guard was named to the All-ACC first team and All-ACC defensive team. But as tournament play has gone on, we've seen the team show its true colors, a full array of stars. There's no doubt that when it's tournament time, you need the entire team to show up. And while Notre Dame has their hands full with a fierce Wolfpack team who has a plethora of stars themselves, Notre Dame has what it takes to find the pot of gold, an ACC tournament championship. Walker, who goes up to the basket and gets it off the glass. A tough effort from Blackwell to save the possession. And Baylor gets a bucket 7-4.
And a really strong Euro step there from Walker to get through the lane and get the layup off the glass to go.
Going the other way for Vanderbilt, it's Cambridge. Finds Washington top of the key, kicks it to the corner. Passat at the left wing will give it down low to Washington, back to the basket, bodying against Blackwell. Shot waved off, foul on the floor. Tough possession there, trying to go up to the basket. And the foul will be called on Asia Blackwell, and Vanderbilt will have the ball under the basket. Cambridge will inbound it for the Commodores. Trying to find somebody open, eventually kicks it back out to Passat, who gives it down low, spinning around. The shot from Pierre is off the mark and rebounded by Blackwell. Gets it to Walker, who will go the other way for the Bears. Stops at the free throw line, but switches to her left hand, goes up for the reverse layup and goes inside the hoop to make it 9-4. Baylor has your lead with just over 7 in this first quarter. Cambridge will drive for the Condors up towards the basket, goes off the glass but bounces out, but was fouled in the process as the foul was committed by Jada Walker of Baylor. And heading to the line will be Cambridge, shooting nearly 73%, and is the all-time career steals leader for this Commodores program. First shot just rattles out.
Riley, not only is she the steals leader, she's been an SEC defensive team member for the past 3 years.
Certainly impressive on that side of the ball, as the second shot will not go. Remains 9-4, Baylor on top, as driving towards the hoop is Andrews, but the shot unable to go. Fighting for the rebound is Lil Paige Buggs, but it will remain in the hands of Vanderbilt. Going the other way. Tried to take advantage of the missed free throw, but Vanderbilt will get it back. Down 5 with 6:45 in this first quarter. Cambridge crosses half court. Goes between her legs, switches to left hand. Finds Pierre, who will hand it over to Moore. He swings it around. Some great ball movement from the Commodores as Washington pauses near the free throw line. Kicks it to the corner, and Moore's shot unable to go. And after a fight for the rebound, foul will be called on Vanderbilt. Sasha Washington commits this one, and Baylor will have the basketball. As Walker will bring it up for the Bears. Crosses half court, puts her back to the basket before dishing it over to the left side. They find on the left corner. It's Fauntleroy who lets it go and got it for 3. Makes it 12-4 with just over 6 in this first quarter. Baylor has the lead. Cambridge will move the other way for the Commodores. And after a pass intended for Pierre, she gathers it and crosses half court again. Pierre will move, stops at the right elbow, but a travel will happen before that, and Baylor will get it right back.
Yeah, it's been a tough stretch of play for Vandy. They just need to settle in and get their feet back under them.
Bringing it out will be Lil Paige Buggs. Inbounds it, and to bring it up will be Andrews for the Bears. After some movement, some pressure behind half court from Vanderbilt, eventually ends in the hands of Andrews of Baylor, and they find Walker, who will take a mid-range jumper, and it's nothing but net. As Baylor takes the lead 14-4 with just over 5:30 in this first quarter, and Vanderbilt's going to think this one over as they're down 10.
Every year, the same headlines roll in declaring the odds of a perfect bracket are just about the same as cotton candy falling from the sky, but every year the masses take another swing at doing the impossible. In the end, it is not the stats, but the stories which prevail in making memories. It's not a matter of if, but when a bracket buster will make a Cinderella run. Who can forget Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago's miracle Final Four appearance, or St. Peter's improbable flight to the Elite Eight? How about when a 16 seed defeated a 1 seed for the first time ever in 2018 as the UMBC Retrievers had a golden showing against Virginia just for Fairleigh Dickinson to strike down the top seed Purdue in 2023? Even before the big dance began, chaos already ensued in conference tournaments this season. In the ACC, the 10-seed NC State won 5 games in a row as a pair of DJs helped the Wolfpack punch a ticket to the dance floor. Yale barely beat the buzzer for the Ivy League championship. Meanwhile, confetti fell on the court in the middle of a game between Duquesne and VCU in the Atlantic 10 championship. Amid all this ruckus, the women's game has been just as full with sparkling stories as the sport fields the most star power we have ever seen. Whether it was Caitlin Clark's record-breaking season, South Carolina's nail-biting victory over Tennessee, or the first tournament burst for 4 schools, this season is shaping up to be one for the ages. The clock is ticking until a so-called David beats a Goliath. So, if your bracket was busted following the first game of the tournament, after you told your friends this is the year, or you picked the wrong 5 versus 12 upset, it's all right. Just sit back, relax, and watch history unfold before your eyes. You are truly witnessing the magic of madness.